the camera and we'll start the meeting.
We are on.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order of the Harwich Recreation and Youth Commission. Recording and taping notification. As required by law, the town may audio or video record this meeting. Any person intending to either audio or video record this open session is required to inform the chair. That being said, guests, gentlemen, please come up, introduce yourself, and we'll get you started and get you home.
Thank you.
No one wants the Celtics tonight.
Yeah, right.
I'm way up my head.
You're
There you go.
Hey, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Jim Gunning. I'm the commissioner of the Cape Cod Senior Softball League. I brought a colleague and a Harwich resident, Gary Anderson,
Gary Conroy.
a 10-year player in our league. And of course, we have Van, who was one of the founders of the league. That said, I think the topic on the agenda is to talk about field usage fees. That kind of bubbled up early spring initially, where I got some feedback to the effect that the fees for the fields were gonna double. So at that point, I responded with a letter to the commission, Eric as well. We didn't get any specific feedback to that. And then more recently, with the circus issues, everybody got a little bit worked up about that, and I set yet another level, looking for a waiver of fees. So what I hope to do this evening is to maybe reintroduce you all to our organization, talk to you a bit about some of our achievements and advances that we've been making, in the hope that you can look at that and recognize that our organization is making great contributions to the community, as well as a continuing stewardship of the fields that we play on in Harwich. So by that includes investment, volunteerism to maintain the fields, to keep them up to speed. And it's been said before, the fields that we play on, our guys are spoiled. I mean, these are some of the best fields in the state to play softball on. We get that feedback very directly after our fall tournament, where we bring in 65 teams worth of people. They just laud the fields, so great work. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the great work of the highway department, specifically Jared, who we partner very closely with. He's always on the other end of the phone when we need him, and just does a fantastic job on the fields. So I've got a handout. I've got 5 of these, I think. I need one myself.
Yeah, I already have one, so you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Van,
Here you go, Dave.
Phyllis. Brian, you need
You got
one?
one?
If there's an extra.
Here you go, yep.
Beautiful. So from the top, we play softball, right, for the seniors up and down the Cape. So we have players that travel from Provincetown, we have players that come from New Bedford, we have players that come from as far north as Plymouth. But the core of the players are mid-Cape. I think we have about 100 players that are residents of Harwich. And then communities like Yarmouth, Dennis, Barnstable make up the bulk of our membership. But it's not a church league, it's more than just the play. We really have created a community. And while we run our season between April, we just finished up our fall league in November, we have activities for our membership that run the course of the year. We go inside to start playing ball the 1st of December. So we maintain that social connection and try to be philanthropic at every opportunity.
The magic of the league is important to understand. There's 400 people playing in this league, and the teams start from scratch every season. So there's a draft. So this socialization that Jim just talked about is really important because you get to network with so many people. It's not like you're on the same team every year. You get to know a lot of people. We've got a very diverse community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're in our 38th season. As Gary mentioned, we have 378 members currently. And we've been very much focused on expansion over the past few years. So the growth that we're experiencing, 10% last year, but you can see over the past few years, we're on a pretty steep trajectory to grow the league. We'll go well over 400 players next year. That doesn't happen by accident. We have a very active recruiting program. We enlist social media. We go to senior centers. You might see some of our postings all over town in the businesses. So this year we brought in 81 new players. 20 of those players are female. So we have always invited women into our league, but had some challenges integrating them skill-wise with the various divisions of play that we have. So this year we established a Friday evening co-ed league with some very specific rules that allow men and women to play safely together. So we think we've cracked that code, and we'll see more and more women coming into the league. We played 370 games. Probably 60% of those are on Harwich fields. We dropped off some with Bassett going offline. And we do some interleague play with our friends from Falmouth. The Cape Cod Senior Softball Classic is our annual tournament and runs for 6 days in September. We brought in over 1,000 players this year. Probably another 500 worth of guests and spouses and so forth, all descending on the Cape in the early fall, staying in hotels, going to the restaurants, enjoying the Cape. So very successful. We had 65 teams. This in spite of Bassett Field being unavailable. So we were at capacity. We turned away about 10 teams that would have otherwise been playing on Bassett Field. Just in terms of money coming in, we charge $600 per team.
Excuse me 1 second. Leah? She still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Frank?
Yes, I'm
All
here.
right, I'd just like to check in on the case and make sure they can still hear, and go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we took a
You're
big,
fine.
we took a pretty significant hit with Bassett being offline. So 10 teams, $600, $6,000. We usually sell about $2,000 worth of merchandise at each of the fields. Both in terms of league play and tournament play, we primarily play on five fields, 6 when Bassett is online. So 3 of those fields are here in Harwich. We play in a field in Yarmouth and 2 fields in Dennis for the tournament. So more on social connection and community engagement. We kind of wrapped up our softball this past weekend. We started bowling a couple of weeks ago. We have an annual golf tournament. In this case, we raised $5,000 through that golf tournament to put AED devices at each of our fields. So there's an AED device at Potter Memorial as well as on Bassett Field and the others. So we're excited to be able to do that in the first place, but also to be able to raise money through a fun event to fund that. Gary runs our yearly banquet at Dennis Yacht Club.
West End Show.
West End Yacht Club, yeah. So we had good success in raising some money, so each year we go to the Harwich Family Pantry and present them with a check that's raised from the proceeds of that event. So to the topic, we enjoy the Harwich Fields. It's our base of operations. You might hear us referred to as the Harwich League in senior softball. But it's expensive. It's expensive relative to the fields we play on in the other towns, in that those towns don't charge us for use of the fields. In the case of Yarmouth, they do some of this maintenance that we pay for here out of our coffers. So this is an annual amount. We spend $65 on maintenance and upkeep of those fields, and it's essential stuff. Most of this relates to maintaining the infield. So an infield.
Did you mean 6,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't speak.
$65.
$65. So
We wish.
add a couple of zeros.
Just want it to be clear.
Anyways, You have to rake out and drag these infields very routinely, otherwise they're pockmarked and potentially dangerous. This is a list of some of the more notable investments that we've made historically. I've got a list that Van had put together that's more comprehensive. So these were cash outlays. The amount of volunteerism from our membership is off the charts, right? In terms of taking care of those fields. We really feel like we're stewards of those fields. I'm sure we're the primary users. But a lot of investment over the years, starting from the beginning with a complete build out of Memorial Field in back of Potter Field. Sprinkler systems. This year we purchased additional stone dust to put in the infield. But that's kind of routine to what we do. The Bassett construction, which I think we started 2 to 3 years ago, we're $20,000 into that to get that thing up and running. We talk about Bassett. Bassett's very important to our league in that we have members that are from the age of 50 to into the 90s. But those younger players have kind of outgrown Potter and Memorial in that the fences are too short. So when we brought Bassett online, we could put the fences out at 300 feet, which is now a standard for ASA softball play. So very helpful to our league, very helpful to our tournament.
Jim, if I may, I think you need to put another 20,000 in your final total. That's what we donated or will be donating for the bathroom facility down at Memorial.
Yeah, and I think
That's not included. I just thought it's important that we're holding that out for.
I only held it because we haven't written the check yet.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that we've been doing that certainly benefits us as a league, but makes contributions to the town and to those fields. So we're pretty proud of all that work. So just in summary, when we talk about field usage, it's a big expense for us. About 80% of our revenue comes from our players, from our mostly retired players. So when we talk about additional thousands of dollars for the purposes of using the field, that's passed on directly to the players. So we feel like we have a good case to say, based on the precedents of other towns, and the exceptional work that we do with the town of Harwich, that we put into those fields to make them as, make a contribution to make them as great as they are. We would really appreciate that consideration and any recommendation towards reducing or eliminating the fees for use of the fields.
Okay.
John, I can give you a recap of what the fee would be. And you guys could consider
Before you
that.
do that, Eric.
Yep.
Exactly, could you tell the board, the commission, exactly what you're requesting tonight?
My specific request would be to waive all fees for use of the fields for this past year and on a go-forward basis.
Okay.
Because of the issue with Bassett, is that?
No, I mean, I think the issue with Bassett got everybody's emotions up. But I think when we examined our cost to play in Harwich, vis-a-vis our cost in other towns, and the amount of money that we've sunk into and continue on an annual basis, that we're doing more than our part for use of those fields.
Okay. Eric?
So what it would be, this is just,
And this is yearly fee, not counting,
Yeah.
you broke this down into two?
Yep. So the regular season, hitting the cap, which is now 2,000, for Potter, Senior Memorial, Bassett, that's 6,000. And then the tournament is 175 a day now for, I believe, 6 days. For Potter and Senior Memorial, I did not even factor in Bassett because it wasn't used. That's another 2,100. Total cost would be 8,100.
So
So,
presumably
Eric, hold on,
Bassett would
please,
be
Jim.
another 1,000 if that was.
Another 1,050. Yeah.
So the cost for The yearly cost for the 3 fields,
It's 6,000.
6,000, that's right, $2,000
2,000
caps.
each, yep,
And for Potter and Memorial for the Classic,
2,100.
2,100, okay. You all set?
Yep.
Brian, questions, comments?
Thank you for putting together the presentation. It's, I got informed of a lot of things you guys do that I didn't know. I think it's clear that you guys contribute to the community and do a lot for the community, especially bringing everyone in during the tournament. That's a big deal for everyone. I'm not sure how fee waiver goes though in this, especially given our history in the past.
Give me 1 second.
Topics.
Eric, please, I apologize.
That's okay.
I should have
That's okay.
had Eric update everybody before we started deliberating.
So the process now is you guys are making a recommendation
Okay.
for a fee waiver, reduction, whatever it ends up being, to go to administration.
Okay. Okay.
So, but
Eric,
they're gonna rely,
does that go to town administrator or does it go to the Board of
it
Selectmen?
goes to town administrator first, and he can make the decision, or he can bring it to the select board if he feels
Okay.
he needs to. But
Sorry, Brian, please
No,
continue.
that's okay.
That's
okay.
not what it was in the past, though.
No, this is
I
newer.
think you
Yeah,
need
with
to know in the
waivers.
past,
Yeah.
we made the final decision
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, and then we didn't for a while. I know
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
Yeah. For a short time.
yep.
I mean, we did for many
Van, please
years.
let
Yeah, I'm
Brian
sorry,
go,
go ahead.
please.
Yeah. So I think all of it's something to weigh. I have no questions though.
David?
Gentlemen, you do good work. I mean, I've watched some of the softball. I've watched this guy through the years. I don't have a horse in the race one way or the other at this point. I'm hung up on something totally different than what is in front of us here. So I'm just gonna keep it at that for the moment.
Van?
I just want to make sure that we all understand that what Harwich does vis-a-vis what Dennis and Yarmouth does for us. And this has been for as far back as I can remember. Dennis and Yarmouth have never charged us, the league, for any amount of money for the use of their fields. In fact, they've given more than we've anticipated. We do, in the past, I know the league has donated as a donation too, but they've never charged us the user fee. So I think it's something that we should take into consideration as we move forward.
Is that it, Van?
I'm good, thank you.
Phyllis?
I just have a question about last year. Was there a fee last year or was there waived also?
Eric?
It was a fee last year, but under the old cap, so it was only $1,000 cap then. So it was the 3 fields for Bassett, Seymour, Potter, and then the tournament was 150 a day. So I believe
It was 1,200 for the class.
Yeah, there was a reduction.
It was
There
18,
It was supposed to be
reduced it to
1,800.
Yeah,
and
it was
reduced to
1,200 flat for the
Yeah.
tournament.
So the total paid out was 4,200.
Yeah.
So this would double, basically.
Yeah. Which
Why
is-
did that happen, if I may, Mr. Chair?
Well, we had the subcommittee, remember, that we
So
evaluated.
that we imposed a new
Yep,
fee structure
Yep.
to,
it was me, Leah, and
Me.
yeah,
Phyllis, yeah.
okay, thank you.
That's it. I just wondered about the past.
Okay, no problem. Frank?
Yeah, I'd like to, a reminder of what we did in the past, and I guess I just heard part of it. And, I'd like to hear what Eric, has to say about the whole thing. I'm not in favor of waiving all the fees entirely for the past year.
What we did in the past, Van, for the Classic, they met the cap on the fields, on Potter Memorial and
Regular
Bassett.
season.
Regular season. The Classic should have been 1,800 if I remember correctly, and we reduced
Yeah,
it to
to
1,200. So they
So
paid
1/3.
1,200 on the Classic charge, and then they paid the 3,000 cap on the 3 fields.
Okay, thank you, John.
Is that it, Frank?
Yep.
Leah? Leah?
Hi, I'm here. I just had to unmute you for a second. You guys don't want to hear my house in the background. No questions. I'm in favor of giving some sort of a link or making a suggestion for some sort of a waiver, but I think we definitely still need to take into consideration the income towards the fields, but also obviously take into consideration what the senior softball has given back as well. But no more questions.
Okay. First of all, my own opinion is Bassett should be off the table for this year. There should be no charge.
Regular season.
Regular season, Classic obviously didn't happen, but there should be no charge, in my opinion, to anybody that was inconvenienced back there, whether it's senior softball or a baseball group or whoever.
Yep.
That's my own opinion. I'm still in favor of a Classic reduction. I'm not in favor of a complete waiver of all fees. Yeah, so that's where I stand, so I'll let,
I think
Eric, why
what I
don't you
was
give
gonna
us your?
say is I was gonna echo what you said. I think Bassett, as a consideration of all the pain in the butt it was with, the damage, taking Bassett off the table is reducing the $2,000 right off the top. And then if we follow past precedent for the Classic, in the past, we've reduced by 33% right off the top, which was 1,800 to 1,200. That would make this 2,100 to 1,400. So you'd be right off the top, reducing the total to 5,400 instead of 8,100.
Okay. What are your, do you have any thoughts on that other than numbers?
My only concern with the complete waiver of fees, or more than that, is what we're opening, because there are other groups, like the Mariners that are nonprofit, the high school that pay, and they pay full. They haven't asked for a fee reduction yet. So where that would end, if we were to give one user a complete waiver.
President.
The precedent it would set. That's my biggest concern.
Okay. Any other questions?
Are we voting on this
We're
tonight?
gonna vote a recommendation this evening. If I can-
What's your final number again, Eric?
So what we had just said, if you did a 1/3 reduction in the Classic and you took Bassett off the table for the year, it'd go from 8,100 to 5,400.
54?
Yeah.
54 Van, yes.
Thang you.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we recommend the directors.
Do you want to hear what he had to say?
Mr. Gunning has one more
Well,
question.
let us go through with the motion first, then we can have a discussion.
Are you making a motion?
I just did.
I second it.
Okay, I didn't take that as a motion, but okay, first, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, Jim?
Here we go.
Yeah, I was just interested, the fee structure that doubled the charge. What was the basis of that? We're not seeing additional services for example. So it was a bit of a sticker shock for sure when it doubled.
Well, we were influenced by administration to up fees for usage. So a subcommittee was formed within this commission to come up with that. So that's the number they came up with, yeah.
It was across the board. It wasn't
Yeah.
specifically for Bassett Potter Memorial.
No. It's
We
the
talked
same.
the other day, I believe, everything is doubled.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time, when was the last time we raised field fees?
Oh, it was at least 10 years before that.
So, Phyllis, I'm sorry.
And I believe that we also, Eric, looked into what other towns charge for fees at the time.
Yeah, we did.
So we weren't out of line with what
And
was going on.
and I mean, I know like Yarmouth and Dennis doesn't charge you, but we just looked at their fee structure in general, not like what they charge each individual.
Sure.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Can you read that motion back, Eric, please?
I don't have it exactly, but Dave Nixon made a motion to, you said.
Go along with the recommendation of the,
recommendation to eliminate the Bassett regular season fee and reduce the Classic charge by 1/3.
So the total being $5,400.
Total being 5,400 instead of 8,100.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Brian,
You can go there first.
you guys, anything?
No questions on that, no?
so,
Dan? Phyllis? Frank, any other questions?
No other questions? No, I'm fine.
Leah?
Nope, no other questions.
I'm gonna take a standing count.
Am I able
because-
to ask just one more question?
Sure.
The other users of the field contribute their own maintenance, things like dragging the infield?
They do, but like the Mariners and the high school, they do all their own, yeah.
their
Right.
own folks?
I don't know, it's up to them to prep their own field.
The high school girls
Yeah.
varsity, they have somebody come down and do
We
their
don't prep
fields.
field
Eric-
for anybody.
Jared does the fields.
Not for the girls.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It
new.
shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be.
The other thing you asked, the Mariners have put in hundreds of thousands of dollars over there.
Yeah.
The high school doesn't do it as much, I'm not gonna lie to you. They might do what they do, but the Mariners they just built a $140,000 bathroom over there. So there is precedent that
Contribution.
others that are putting it in are still paying,
Sure.
okay?
Jim, that's new this year, if that's the case with Jared doing that, because in the past, he's never, okay, the high school has a custodian and a staff that comes down and lines.
They have the
up
guy in
fields.
the little gray Jeep with the
Yeah.
trailer on the back.
Exactly.
I don't know, I just know that I saw Jared.
Yeah, he shouldn't be doing it, but anyway, it's never happened.
Okay.
And we should contact the high school about that. That's not his job to
Yeah,
do.
well, he's not my employee, but
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion? Frank,
Aye.
I'm gonna have to do the standing. Phyllis?
Aye.
Van?
Present.
Aye.
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
Leah?
Aye.
Okay.
it's a delay there.
Yeah, it is a delay. Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Oh,
We're
and
not on the agenda, but I did add a short list
Yep.
of potential project candidates. And I know we're not gonna get into this today, but I'd like to come to this group again.
Sure.
To kind of go through this punch list and see if there's
just let Eric know when
some
you want to get
leadership
on.
and advice as to how we can move on some of these
Yeah.
projects.
And the
Absolutely.
one thing Jim and I were, talking about was the safety aspects. Try to get on those quickly so that, people aren't getting hurt and, some of our guys were taken to the hospital, because of heat stroke and all that stuff, so we think there's a lot of ways to make the.
Well, while you're here, do you want to get on the agenda for January?
Sure.
Yeah, we're not meeting in December, but we can put you on there. Okay, and I'll give you the details, I'll send them out.
Because you'll be
Okay.
playing
And
again.
while you're
before-
here, Eric, why don't you just tell Jim, the commissioner, what the current status is on that bathroom, because I think they would like to know what's going on.
Yeah, so the bathroom right now, the perk test, I just heard back from them, they're gonna be doing the perk test either later this week or early next week. So once that's done, they will be the Cape Cod Engineering, who we hired as the design and engineering firm, will be giving us the specs, which will enable us to put out the RFP for the septic and the restroom itself, 2 separate RFPs. Once those are bid on, then we'll get moving, hopefully we'll get good numbers.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Good deal. We're
and then
excited about that.
fencing at Senior Memorial, contract has been signed, that's gonna be done probably within the month.
Excellent.
Yep,
Good for you
so,
guys.
All right, well, we finished up with the fields, so,
Yep. yeah, that's what I told them, I said, go ahead, whenever you're ready, go for it, yeah.
Great.
Great.
Well, thank you all so
Thank you,
much.
guys.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Can't believe I'm saying that. You're not kidding, Phyllis. Okay, moving on, minutes from October 22nd.
So moved.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Phyllis. Any discussion, comment? All right, I'm going to do it, I have to do a standing count. Brian?
Aye.
David? Van?
Aye.
Phyllis? Leah?
Aye.
Frank?
Aye.
All
You
right.
changing diapers, Leah?
Okay, director's report. Eric?
So I gave you the fencing update, the resurfacing project. I talked to Harry from East Coast Seal Coating. He would prefer to wait to do it to the early spring, because he doesn't think it makes sense to do it now and then incur any winter damage. It would only be offline for about 4 or 5 days total.
Makes sense.
And then the fencing one will happen sooner than later. Go
Can I
ahead.
just,
Yeah, sure.
the bubbling on the other courts is
He's gonna
getting
look at those
worse.
too. Yep.
And there are dips in those courts too,
Okay.
which are really disappointing,
Okay.
like they're developing, but especially on 14, if you go
Okay.
over there.
And I'm gonna have them look at that separately and get us
Yeah.
costs on that, because we can't use it out of that same.
Right, right, but
bucket,
14 and 16 are the worst.
Yep, okay.
Okay, hold on. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
So, I can show you a picture, but
Nope.
they painted the courts and the paint is bubbling
You're
up.
talking the new courts?
The new courts, the paint is bubbling up. Like,
Is there a warranty on that?
I don't know, I'll check.
Gotta be something.
I mean, it's the oddest thing.
I'll check with Harry
I
on
mean,
that.
it should be at least. a
And it's
year's
on the new
warranty.
courts?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were all
So-
resurfaced, yeah.
Can you see that?
Oh, yes, wow.
Yeah. And that's just one spot.
I would, check with administration
On the,
before you
yeah,
meet with them to
Yeah.
find out what, if any,
Yeah, and it's
warranty
getting
there
worse.
is.
This
I mean,
growing
those
is
aren't
like a
penny
rash.
size, those are
and those
Do
are.
you
softball
see it?
size.
Do you wanna
Done
see it,
long
Dave?
ago either.
What?
That wasn't done long ago.
I'll check it out tomorrow
Okay,
morning.
but definitely
When
14
was
near
the
the
spring,
doors,
right?
near the shed.
Summer?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so those aren't
not
even,
long at
But it's
all.
like
What
a
I-
rash and it keeps growing.
okay,
Um,
thank you for bringing
Yeah,
it up.
they were done very late. You used a different system on that, a cold weather system.
yeah,
So that's the problem.
maybe,
Yeah.
I'll find out.
You don't do things like that in the cold weather.
The only other one I wanted to update specifically is the budget. We had a department head meeting today. We were informed that we could input our budget into the Munis computer system starting tomorrow, and they want it next Wednesday, so they didn't give us much time there. But it shouldn't be too difficult, because they're asking for a level funded budget as the first round, which means our three sections of budget being expenses, seasonal, and salary and wages. The only increases that should reflect in this input is contractual increases for year-round staff and utility increases that are determined by town hall. I did ask about the separate enhancement of services budget that we have every year. That's for anything additional that you're asking for. They don't know when they want those by yet, but it was made very clear that there was a slim to none chance of enhancement of services requests being approved this year. We still plan to move forward with the requests we plan to make. We had a whole boatload of them, so including a grade level increase for most of our seasonal staff to get us more in the middle, Cape wide, of where we should be. Also adding staff, another staff member, which we tried last year. We're going to try again this year. And the third thing is I'd like to reclassify John as an assistant director position instead of a program specialist, being that he's working outside the scope of his job description now with the taking classes to train the lifeguards, things like that. I think it would be more appropriate.
The union,
What would you have to do?
What's that?
how's the union doing?
Well, that's the other hurdle. But those are three things that we're gonna put in anyway, because they're gonna have to say no.
Is this a new change? I mean,
What do you mean?
is this a different message than you had a month ago?
We've always had level, it seems like every year is level funded, and then there's the enhancement of service, but there's never been, kind of a heads up that it doesn't look like you're gonna get any of
Yeah,
them.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, no, this is fairly new, so I'm not sure where it came from, but hopefully it changes.
Subject to
Especially for the
change.
seasonal staff, that's a big one for us. If we can't get that pay up, whether we train our own lifeguards or not, which is great, it only goes so far. We're gonna start losing the amount of guards we need.
You're gonna train them and they're gonna go elsewhere. Is there
Yeah.
any, if you train them,
Yep,
there's no commitment that they have to
well, no,
work?
we don't, we'll sign them on and then train them. So if we're training them, they're staying here. But they could stay here for a year and the next year take off.
Is it worth prioritizing the list?
Oh, the priority, yeah, I mean, they're probably gonna ask us to,
Okay,
hopefully. And the seasonal staff would be priority one.
okay.
And that's an increase of about $38,000 to get everybody, because
How
if you, 38,000. If you move your lifeguards up a grade level, you have to move everybody else, because they'd then be getting paid as much as a supervisor, and everything kind of shifts.
David?
Yeah, first off, what were you saying about the electric? Has to go through town hall?
No. So the only increases to the levels funded budget are contractual and then utilities. Town hall determines what the increase we should factor in is. So we got the budget message this morning. So say for electric, they said factor in a 5% increase in your electric budget. They had a 0% in water, and the only other one we're waiting on is fuel.
Fuel's actually down.
Yeah, so that could go down, yeah.
What would the increase to John's salary be if you bumped him to?
We're still working the numbers. It wouldn't be huge, but we're still working the numbers, yeah.
Can you give me a percentile?
Oh, I'd say 10%.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not a huge thing. But it would start them on a new scale too, so it'd have a higher ceiling.
so his step increases will,
Yeah, yep.
okay, thank you.
Van?
Now, along the same lines, I guess, what would John have to do to have that title attached to his position?
Well, what we're working on is writing up a job description for it, specific to our department. There are assistant directors in other departments, but we have a job description for our department. We'd submit that along with the request, how much, a change in funding. There is a grade level for that assistant director position, not recreation assistant director, but if we compare it to assistant harbor master, assistant, whatever else is on that next grade level up. So it's basically submitting an application. We'd have to run it through the union as well. So there are steps to it.
Ooh,
And then what would he have to do is there further training he has to
Well, that's the thing. He's basically doing a lot of that stuff now. A lot of the stuff that's outside of the scope of just running programs, period. The big one of which is training lifeguard,
Is he taking classes now for all of that?
We're about to send him away for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's going to Boston.
Yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile. He's a very good asset,
Yep.
so,
no question in my mind.
Phyllis?
No questions.
Frank?
No
So-
question.
Leah?
No questions.
No, she's napping.
What was the previous position, what was her title? Was it,
Sue,
Sue,
So it was
not to say names, but,
it was program specialist.
she wasn't a director.
so she's not subcontracting anymore?
No.
So
That's
she was
fine.
never an assistant director.
Nope.
yet they're in charge when you're not here.
Yes, that's another issue. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot.
It's always been that way.
When I'm not here, somebody's got to be in charge, and it is, right now, it's the program specialist.
I guess it-
But that's the role of an assistant director, in my eyes.
It's a good argument.
Very good argument. Okay. And so nothing else on the director's report?
No, unless
Oh.
there's more questions.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to property maintenance report.
These are basically updates on, there's nothing really that update, it's all the ones that I've basically updated with our CPC projects unless there's questions.
Eric, John, may I?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'd like to ask you a question about the dugouts that's listed.
Okay.
For more,
Yeah, that's
field.
been on there a while.
What do we need what is that all about? Can you give me a
For
little?
Potter, you mean?
Yeah,
Well, that was put on there because I believe you and some of the softball guys said that they needed to be redone.
right.
That kind of falls along the lines of, I'm in favor, I don't really need them to be redone. They could be taken out and we could put in benches. Because for our purposes, we don't need them. If the high school and the senior softball want brand new dugouts, concrete big dugouts, go for it.
Well, could they use, and somebody help me out here with an answer, please. Does it have to be concrete?
No.
No,
Could it be
Chain link.
the sailcloth
over the top.
over the top and
Yeah.
chain link sides like
Yeah.
we're looking at?
Kind of like Brooks Park
Let's say air
dugouts,
go
but
through
with
with
the
a
top.
sail, yes.
John, if I may,
Yep.
follow up on that. We were going to build a couple for the memorial. Cape Tech the kids were going to build it
Okay.
for us.
Yep.
Okay, the only thing they wanted, obviously, it's all set, the carpenters were all,
Materials.
we had to pay for materials. So I guess the materials were gonna cost for two,
Yep.
in the area of about $4,000.
Okay.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Yep.
For materials, because the plan was put a roof open on all 4 sides.
Yep.
And a front.
And I think this
So that'd be air flowing through.
Yep.
And so on.
that's on that punch list that they want to come in January about too. Yeah.
So that's I've already talked to the superintendent up there,
Yeah.
and he said, anytime you're ready, Van,
Okay.
we'll do it for you.
I think if they come next month, or not next month, January, as that is one of their items on the punch list, but if they could also show us some kind of
See,
plan.
they want to take on a community project. And when I talked to the super, yeah. when I talked to the superintendent, who I know very well, he said, Van, we'll do your community project anytime you're ready. The shop will be down there and
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
If you get the numbers to us and you guys approve the use of it, you know,
Yeah, I'd like to see exactly what they're talking
what it
about.
looks like.
We'll put a design together.
Yeah.
I'll call him
Simpler
up.
the better.
Yeah,
I'll talk to Bobby Sam.
okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Anything else on the
No. Not for
any
me.
questions? Frank, any questions on the maintenance report?
No,
I think I just went through this. Leah?
Nope, no questions.
Okay, moving on.
So,
Budget report.
yeah, so
I mean,
ignore the paperwork you guys got. I have, I did some dive. So, the past few meetings, they had not credited us with the credit card MyRec signups yet, and they still haven't. But we figured out a way around that. So I got a printout of our balance, and what we actually have in the account, and it's $50,960. But that doesn't include any of the credit card payments since August 1st. So we went into Munis, which gives you financial summaries. 33,000 wasn't accounted for,
So 83,960.
is the total. They're working on getting all those credit card ones, so they'll show up on the same report
Thought the credit card was supposed to make it easy.
for the user.
Any questions for Eric on the budget number? Brian?
Nope.
David?
no,
Keep track of that budget, Eric.
Oh, yeah, that's why I did my dive.
Leah, any questions?
Nope, no questions.
Mr. Nixon, CPC update, please.
Well, the only good news I have for you folks is we're going to get the numbers trued up in CPC,
Beautiful.
and the admins is gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you were
So-
saying that. That's great. That it?
That's it.
Facilities?
Yeah, just at the last meeting, they were talking about putting in new carpeting in the building and new shades in the building. And basically that was and then of course, they're talking about all the programs. And I mentioned to the committee how pleased we were as a commission that John is working very closely with Reagan.
Yeah.
And doing a nice job. The two of them are working very well to get the programs going, and they're separate, but yet they combine.
And it's been a great thing. They've had the community development meetings once a month that was started, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And it's, me or John or both of us, Carolyn, Reagan, the youth counselor, anybody in town, so we kind of can merge programs, not overlap programs, kind of.
How'd the whole Halloween thing work out without the
great.
drive-through and the
It was
inside?
great.
Was it?
Yeah, went really well.
Well, the other thing is that Carolyn put a policy together about the usage of the building, how the building's gonna be used. And it's,
Yeah.
I guess Eric was asked to look at it,
Yep.
and a couple of changes were made,
Yeah.
and then it goes on to the select board for final approval.
The only thing in there that really pertained to us was that rec staff has to be present for all programs. I'd like it to add, and I'm working on this, rec staff and vetted volunteers, because that's what we had talked about back in the time,
Yeah.
Vetted meaning Cory checked, interviewed, everything, so.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that's in there.
Okay. Leah, any questions on the facilities report?
Nope, no questions.
Frank?
no questions.
Okay. New open session, Frank?
Yeah, I'd like to have Eric look up the cost of, artificial turf, per yard or per whatever they sell it by.
Field
And
turf?
Yeah, just for the turf, and the highway could probably install it, so just with the ballpark figure what that turf costs.
Okay. Yep, I could do that.
Because it was suggested, I guess, I think by John, that dirt between the two, the new course and the old course, put something down, and artificial turf, I think would fit perfectly.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be a
Seems too
ton of it
simple.
either.
CPC can't pay for that.
I don't think
Yeah,
you're
no, I
talking.
have no-
I don't think you're talking. Okay, anything else, Frank?
No, that's it.
Leah, anything else under new business other than baby?
Open session.
Nope, that's it.
Okay, it's funny you mentioned that turf, I think I mentioned Eric. I was in the north end a couple weeks ago, whatever, and they have a new facility down by the water, down by the skating rink, you know, right there on Atlantic Ave. And they have a new sports complex, and every inch of it is AstroTurf.
Yeah.
The baseball field, the fields, they're brown, but they're AstroTurf.
Is it AstroTurf or field turf?
Whatever,
The
it's
stuff with
not,
the little black pebbles in
I
it?
think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But
Field
batting
turf.
cages, I mean, batters boxes, foul coaches
Yeah.
boxes. Talk about, it's probably a much larger initial investment,
Yeah.
but you never have to do another thing to it. It was
Maintenance is
just,
zero for
it was
10 years.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pitches mounds, AstroTurf,
That's what they have at the high school, right?
The football field? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
field
but I've
turf,
never
yeah.
seen one with the base area and the pitcher's mound and the batter's
Yeah,
boxes,
the whole thing.
all different colors.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
cool.
it looks like
Yeah,
a
that's
regular.
good.
Looks like a
Yeah.
regular field, but it's AstroTurf. Anything else,
I'm good.
Phyllis?
No, I wonder if they have remnants for like leftover
No
projects.
kid. That's not a bad idea,
Yeah.
actually. Brian? Leah, anything else?
Nope, we're all set.
No meeting in December, next meeting will be in January.
Okay, perfect.
And Frank, you all set?
I'm all set.
Good.
Good heads up to Phyllis for spotting those, spots on the course that are a problem.
Yep. Eric's
I'll
on
get
that.
Larry. Yep.
Motion to
Thank you
adjourn.
for,
Second.
thank you for joining us, guys.